I am Zoey Gong. I am a traditional Chinese medicine chef, nutritionist, and the founder of 5 Seasons TCM. I cook traditional Chinese medicine foods using herbs and TCM philosophies in my food. I think TCM speak a different scientific language. Science now is so Western oriented. Like everything that's not this kind of science is not science. But I don't think that's true. For example, TCM, we have our own language of science. We talk about the yin and yang, the 5 elements, the energetics of foods. These are our science. People who did not grow up in this culture, it's hard to understand what it is. That's the charming part of TCM, if you understand Chinese, is TCM is also so much in our literature, in art, in philosophy. It is not just numbers. It's not just like a standard. It is how Chinese people think, how the nature works. Traditional Chinese medicine, of course, it is medicine for the Chinese people, started from 2,000-3,000 of years ago, and it is a very comprehensive system of healing. It is very holistic, strives for a balance instead of using numbers and standards to see people or to treat people. This is so much, but yeah. This is like a yin nourishing thing that I need. I came to the US when I was 16, and just after several months, I had a lot of health problems. Having a traditional Chinese family, they always know that Western medicine might not be the best solution for things. So I started to go for food therapy, just looking into nutrition, to trying to incorporate that. We have herbal formula, which you drink. You have medicinal cuisine, which I guess is like Western nutrition. And we have acupuncture, we have cupping, you have gua sha, which is scraping, and you have moxie heat therapy. So all these modalities really go hand in hand to treat a person, and how we treat this person, how we see this person, is from we want to find the root problem. If you know it so well, it turns almost into a philosophy. You need to think of it. So it is very hard to explain TCM in one sentence, I guess, especially to someone who's not familiar with Eastern way of thinking. TCM is so hard to translate to English. The subtlety of words in Chinese, think about it. Like we have 29 kind of pulses. 就是脉，有29种脉，你怎么翻啊？什么弦脉、细脉、短脉。And that's why I feel like I'm so blessed to understand Chinese, at least for me as a student. It just makes so much sense to me. Everything is much easier for me to understand because I know Chinese, and TCM is all about the subtlety of language. I have a very traditional Shanghainese style of cooking as the base because that's where I grew up and I was helping my grandparents to cook a little bit, and I love our cuisine. I want to show what my regional cuisine is, and then I add more herbs into all kinds of food, and I think about the balance, the medicinal balance of them. And then it's the cultural part. It's really based on how my life is, I guess, how my inspirations come to me. For example, I would do a lot of Mexican and TCM fusion after my trip to Mexico. It's like opening doors for 2 groups of people. I've realized my Chinese friends have never had this. My Turkish friends have never had those Chinese things. But by putting them together, they can identify some elements of the same plate. And I think it's just important to make things relevant for people, especially if they're trying new things. It cuts the barrier of culture that way. And of course, I always put wellness, and healing things in my food. I think it's so important just because nowadays it's so much additives and processed foods and a lot of nutritional myth that I will call, and a lot of very restrictive diets that I think takes out the joy of eating. That's what makes me sad. They just take it and sell it, which is great because they're able to make these wonderful ingredients so presentable and good for people. I fully support that, but I just feel like they need to give TCM more credit. And there just needs to be more conversation around it, you know? TCM, as I said, here is only acupuncture, even in school. It's mostly acupuncture-focused program. And they call it TCM because acupuncture is in the insurance here, and it's more mature system here. Acupuncturists and all the licensing, but for other practices, it is just less regulated, I guess. That's why it receives less focus. It's also less money. Yeah. So exactly. So when you're too heated, you know, so you have to have less of that. I became such a more chill person after living in Argentina or visiting South America because I saw people there. Living in China or in Asia, obviously, it gives me quality, I guess. Very hardworking kind of thing. Living here also, it's a totally different mindset as well. But I think just by traveling, seeing different culture, you become a very open, understanding, and more creative person. So traveling is very important to me, and just to experiencing the culture is very important to me. Having these trips in my mind connects me to something else. There's like a law of attractions, right? You are just accumulating energy, accumulating stuff, accumulating karma, I guess, when you do things. You might not notice the effect immediately. The skin of the dates. I just did it. Reishi is just so much wisdom in this mushroom. I want to show the layers.